So how do you know right from wrong? How do you know where the best place will be to start your pro wrestling journey? My first red flag is exclusivity. Any place that doesn't allow you to cross-train elsewhere, or even more importantly, doesn't allow you to wrestle elsewhere, rings every alarm bell in my mind. For most, if not all, this is not the WWE Performance Center. You are not being signed to contracts, you are not making millions of dollars. If you're making any money at all, you'd be very lucky. So what are they trying to hide from you? What are they trying to protect you from? For me, most of it just comes down to being selfish. They want you all for themselves. They don't want you to go elsewhere, potentially leave the nest, potentially not come back. And I think this attitude really limits the kind of progression you can make. You need to get reps in with different trainers. You need to learn from different perspectives. You need to wrestle in different environments that are outside of your comfort zone. If you don't, you're going to hit a ceiling very, very quickly. I, for one, am super confident with the type of training and curriculum I provide at the EPW School of Pro Wrestling, and even still, I recommend to my students that they should get out there and experience life. If you're enjoying these videos and want to support me in making bigger and better content just like this, make sure you head over to my worldbeaterwrestling.com Patreon. It's a community for pro wrestlers, current and aspiring, a place of networking, collaboration, and exclusive learning content to help you on your pro wrestling journey. Anyway, back to the video. Second red flag is a trainer that has no name. And I don't mean that they have to have been a superstar in a past life. They don't have to be super mega famous and rich, but you at least want your trainers to have vast experience. Now, an experienced trainer, an experienced wrestler doesn't necessarily make a good trainer or good wrestler. But at the very least, you want your trainer to have a variety of different backgrounds and perspectives. So no matter what your style, what your goals, whatever your intentions, they can help shape you in the right way. If your trainer only has 50 matches to their name and they've only wrestled and trained in the one place, how can you trust that they can help you on your path to bigger and greater things? And I know that some trainers who maybe have been quite exclusive and quite limited in where they've been could be fantastic. They could have great people skills, great coaches, really good at teaching the fundamentals, but at least check that their reputation holds up. See what kind of trainees they've produced themselves. If they have mentored others who have gone on to do great things, then fantastic, give them a go. But just be prepared that there might be limits to how far they can take you. Third red flag to watch out for is an unprepared trainer. If it feels like they haven't put any time and effort into planning their sessions, into planning their curriculum, into running their sessions with some sort of means for progression, then that could be a major issue. Coaches are there to guide you and make sure that you're improving regularly. So if they're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and hoping if it sticks, there's a good chance it won't. Fourth red flag is empty promises. And if you've ever been to Europe, to one of the busy cities, you know that there's always waiters standing on the street trying to get you into their restaurant. It's a tourist trap. The food's going to be rubbish. They're just trying too hard to sell you. And the same goes for a wrestling school. If they're giving you all these promises and all these great things are going to happen to you, we know that pro wrestling is unpredictable. We know that there can't be any real promises. All a pro wrestling school should promise you is a quality education and potentially some networking opportunities. The rest should be on you. My fifth and final red flag is some sort of code of conduct. Do you have to sign any paperwork when you first join up the school? Do they have a mission statement? Do they have something in effect that tells you what is expected from their coaches and from their trainees? If they don't, you just never know what could happen. These kinds of things protect yourself from injury, from harm. Really, it just comes down to whether they're professional or not. A pro wrestling school should be as professional as any other business or sport and rec organization. And in addition to this, there's so many other things I could say are potentially not make or break, but they are desirables, things you should keep in mind. Things like whether the training facility is clean, do they take responsibility for your learning? Are they showing a keen interest in your learning? Are they approachable? Are the coaches giving you feedback regularly? Is there a tiered system for progression? Is there like a beginner, intermediate, advanced system where you can train with people on your level and you can, try to work your way up? Do they have gradings of any sort? These are things you should always ask. See if they're in play. Again, they're just another way that you can tell whether that company is professional or not. So I'd love to know from you, what are some things that you identify as red flags for training schools, potentially things you might have seen in the past, And what does your school do well? What are some things that really make you feel like your school cares about you and like this is the place to be to continue your pro wrestling journey? If you've got anything to add, please drop it into the comments box below. I would appreciate any sort of like, any sort of share, and of course, a subscribe if you're here on YouTube. And I'll see you next week for another episode of World Beater Wrestling.